distort the sound for anyone else. So good evening to everybody and hello if you're watching the replay. Welcome to our Back to School Essentials Masterclass. We were just chatting before we hit record, myself, Jessie and Anne-Marie, who are hosting this together. And we were just saying, it's a lovely class to teach, and it's literally a class that we teach once every year. So we're so delighted that you get to spend the next 45 minutes with us. If you'll just bear with me as I'm chatting here, I'm just going to be working the waiting room as well, just letting people in, those who are just coming in a few minutes late. So before we get started, what I'll do is I'll just introduce ourselves who are here leading the session with you tonight. There's myself, my name is Alison Clark. We have Jessie here, Jessie O'Sullivan, and Anne-Marie Maxwell. We are three mums with children of varying different ages. So I've got two smallies, 1 and 5. Jessie's kids are a bit older in primary school, and Anne-Marie has the teens. So collectively, we are juggling all different areas and aspects of motherhood. And we've also been using essential oils personally within our own lives. You know, we're all like between 10 and 5 years for all different aspects. So whether that's the physical things that come up with ourselves personally or our children, and then the mental and the emotional things. So we've been in this space. So we're here to share our knowledge with you mums tonight. Because this season particularly is a really challenging season. It's exciting. I don't know if any of you think that this is an exciting season. The whole September is like fresh beginnings, routine. Like who here is like mad for the routine? I know I am. But it has that beauty, like a new season, bringing in the routine, the structure, but with it comes its challenges. So when we think about ourselves, yes, as mothers, but also our children experience different types of challenges. They have growing, developing bodies, brains. I know my son, he's just started in junior infants, completely new school, brand new, no preschool friends going in. So that brings its challenges. Anne-Marie has a daughter who's just done the leaving cert. So she has her, you know, she is a different aspect and a different aspect of the challenges that come with parenting at that later stage. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to look at the different ways that essential oils can support you as a mother, navigate the different challenges that come with this season, be that physical or emotional. So when I say physical, what I mean is, you know, like straight away, like we didn't get the back to school weather that we're supposed to get in September. I don't know if anyone else feels a little bit robbed, but we were all kind of in our house expecting that we'd have the sunglasses out for a little bit longer, but it certainly feels very autumnal. The weather has changed and already the gastro bugs are going around and different things. So that's typical for September. And what you're going to learn tonight isn't just applicable for like back to school. It's applicable for this whole season that we're seeing coming into autumn, winter as, you know, children are, as their immune systems are growing and developing. So we'll be looking at different aspects of that. We'll also be looking at how we can support children emotionally. So there's so many different amazing things that happen with our children when they're growing and their brains are developing and their fears are starting to come out. And some children that are smaller, it might be a bit of separation anxiety. And then, of course, as children get older, they go through that phase of moving away from you being the person that they just want to be around all the time. And all of a sudden you've got the back seat because it's all about their friends. And then it's all about, such and such won't play with me, and all the different aspects that come from social challenges with children, with different friends. So we're going to be looking at loads of different aspects of it. So the first thing that just to reference, like why would we even consider using essential oils for any of this? Like why are we here? Well, essential oils are really, really effective tools that can help us do that. And when we can lean into having a really abundant toolkit as moms, it means that we have choice. And every single parent here and every single mother here has a choice. We have a choice. When I say a choice, we have different types of resources available to us. So when we think about, where we live in the world, we are so fortunate that we have access to modern medicine, GPs, doctors. And in the world, when I think about like the aromatherapy world and the essential oil space, that when I look at like the different communities and workshops that I lead, is that, essential oils can be used as a first line of defense And then all the other stuff is there to support us. We know it's there in the background. But when we can work with something that's really natural, really effective to deal with something that's physical and emotional, it is such a win. So just before I continue on, I'm just going to just let a few more people that are waiting in the waiting room, just welcome them in. So let's just do a little contrast. Like, let's just look at like the different approaches. So when we think about like the modern Western kind of allopathic approach to wellness or managing our health, well, we know that it's often focused on managing symptoms instead of solving the root problem. It relies heavily on synthetic ingredients that sometimes the body can struggle to process. So that basically means when we think about taking something that can be harsh on the system, it might be difficult for the body to metabolize. So if we think, for example, if even, typically speaking, if there's like a chest infection, it's antibiotic and that can disrupt the gut microbiome. What happens when the gut microbiome is exposed or is disrupted? It can affect the whole like brain gut axis, which can lead to anxiety. So it's by no means a perfect system. So it's great to have natural solutions that can support that in a different approach. It's very helpful. We're so lucky, as I said, to live in a world of modern medicine, but it comes with the whole side effects, known and unknown. So what is it about, the natural approach? Well, we know that when we have a natural approach, it helps to work with our body to restore balance from the root. It's particularly when we're looking at dealing or working with essential oils that are pure and effective, it can be incredibly empowering. It helps both the physical aspect, but also the emotional. It's safe without side effects, and it's a really simple lifestyle solution. So just to even recap, like, what does even all of that mean when I'm like kind of categorizing essential oils? Well, they are a really effective natural solution. They are so easy to use. Essential oils are so simple. And if you're brand new and you're like, this is a completely new world to me, it's like, feels like there's so many different oils and it's confusing. And that's literally because if you're brand new, it's just literally at that initial stage. But the beautiful thing is once you use an essential oil protocol once or twice, it's nearly second nature. The great thing about oils is that they are so effective. And when I say effective, it means that they work. Your body knows what to do with them because they're in a familiar environment. And we don't have the dependencies that come. So if we think about, like, for example, a synthetic medication, we don't have the same kind of dependencies, or we don't build up resistance to it. So it's very effective. They're so affordable. They work out at pennies per drop. They're safe with no side effects. They're versatile. So when I say versatile, it means that we can use, you might hear me say, for example, tonight, or maybe Jessie, mention lemon, and maybe refer to lemon as in lemon is great for soothing a sore throat, for example. But when I say that it's versatile, yes, lemon is great for your sore throat, but lemon is also the oil of focus. So it's an amazing oil to diffuse. It's also an antiseptic oil. It also has antioxidants, so it's great for acne. So like, that's what I mean when I say versatile. So even though you might be like, oh, that's a great oil for X, it's not just a great oil for X, it's a great oil for X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So there's a breadth of it. So highly versatile. They're safe for the environment. So we're not pumping chemicals into the air when we think about like pollutants. They are extremely safe. They're safe for the environment. They are family friendly. So from all ages. So you can use essential oils, from small children right up to those people that are in their last few days of life, and pets. So everyone in the family can benefit from essential oils, and they have dual benefits. So dual benefits being, you might reach, for example, a blend that we'll refer to tonight called On Guard, which is protective to the immune system. So that might be your primary objective, is to, okay, kids are going out the door, want to support their immune system, so I'm going to put On Guard on them. But that's your objective. But the secondary or the dual benefit is it's going to support them emotionally. So it's working on a deeper emotional level, helping them feel protected, which is lovely if you know that your child is a little bit self-conscious, maybe feeling vulnerable, that you're giving them that protective energy going. So you're getting dual benefits. So that's it for me for a couple of minutes. I'm going to pass you over to Jessie now. Jessie's going to walk you through what oils are, how you use them, the different grades. So I'm going to pop myself on mute here, and over to you, Jessie.
Thanks, Alison. Can you guys hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up if you can. Great. Okay, brilliant. So before we dive into all of the juicy goodness of how the oils can support you and your family, let's just take a step back and look at what are essential oils. So I suppose in its simplest form, they're extracts from plants and they're highly concentrated and they're 50 to 70 times more powerful than herbs. So if you think about essential oils, one drop of peppermint is the equivalent to 52 cups of peppermint tea. So looking at the picture on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see that there is a peppermint leaf magnified. And what you'll see on the right side is a little peppermint sac. And in that sac is peppermint oil. And what that oil is doing is it's protecting the plant. And then when it's distilled, it's supporting us. But I suppose the thing with distillation is that not all oils are produced equally. So just moving on there, Alison. Okay, so purity really matters when it comes to essential oils. There's a lot of different types of essential oils. So I suppose the majority of oils are synthetic, they're lab made, they're fragrance, there's no therapeutic value, so they're not going to work the way you want them to. And then there's food grade, there's therapeutic grade, which means that they will give you some benefit, but at different quality, and it varies. So because the essential oil industry isn't regulated, the oils that we're talking about tonight are purely doTERRA oils. And the reason for that is because, so doTERRA wanted to create their own standard when it came to essential oils. So what they did was they created a standard to ensure that when you get a bottle of peppermint or when you buy your bottle of lavender oil, that what you're getting is 100% pure. So they went one step further to make sure that they were, I suppose, the best essential oil company in the world. And if you have a bottle of doTERRA oil and you pick it up, on the bottom of it, you'll see a code. And if you were to type that code into a website called source2u.com, that will give you a list of all of the tests that your bottle of lavender, your bottle of peppermint has gone through to make sure that it's 100% pure peppermint oil or pure lavender oil. And if it fails one of those tests, then it doesn't make the bottle, basically. And it's the purity that actually makes them work. So like I'll often have people say to me, oh, I tried lavender for sleep and it hasn't really done anything. And the first question I'll always ask is, what lavender have you tried? Because if it's not a pure essential oil, you're literally just putting, it's like spraying perfume on a pillow and hoping it will get rid of your headache when it'll actually make it worse. So like what you'll find with other essential oils is like all it takes is one drop of pure oil in a bottle for them to say 100% pure. It could be filled with fillers and synthetics, so you're not going to get the same purity as you would get from doTERRA oils. Okay, so now let's look at how they work. So I'm going to use On Guard, which Alison talked about earlier. So On Guard is an essential oil blend. So it contains a number of different oils and it's in one bottle. So you've got clove, you've got cinnamon, you've got wild orange, eucalyptus and rosemary. And it was probably the most, I think it was the #1 sold oil during COVID. So On Guard is an immune blend. And if you look at this cell, like essential oils are cell-based. So if you were to go to the doctor with a viral infection, or if you were to take the kids to the doctor with a viral infection, he would most likely say, just give them fluids. You know, there's nothing they can do for a viral infection because the antibiotic can't actually penetrate into the cell, whereas essential oils can pass through the cell membrane. So they're actually getting to the root of the problem. They're not masking a symptom. It's actually getting to the root of the problem. And when you think about the oils that are in On Guard, they're antiviral, they're antibacterial, they're antimicrobial. So the oils are actually getting to the source of the problem as opposed to just masking a symptom. And you don't get the side effects that you would get with medicine. As Alison said, it's just more side benefits because you have that extra layer of protection with them. Okay, so now that we've talked about what they are, I'm going to show you 3 really simple ways to use essential oils. So the first way, and probably the most popular way to use essential oils, is aromatically. So it's one of the fastest ways and one of the simplest ways to use oils, and it's also the quickest impact. So the quickest way to impact your mood is through your sense of smell and smelling an oil. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling frazzled, if you're feeling nervous, or all of the above, literally smelling an oil will change your mood, and it will change your mood in 20 seconds. So it will give you quick mood shifts, and it reaches your brain in seconds, and it really, really helps you. It works directly with the limbic system, which is the seat of the brain. So like sometimes people will think of a sense of smell and it will trigger like a memory from the past for them. It also helps to breathe easier. So if you have anything going around at home, whether it's bugs or coughs or anything like that, it will really support yourself and your family to breathe easier. So there isn't a night that goes by where we don't have the diffuser on in all of the rooms. And it's really good to freshen the space then as well. So like if somebody was to get sick, you're just adding that layer of protection around the house to protect other people. And then it's really simple to use. So when we think about using oils aromatically, you can literally just open the bottle and smell it. If you don't have time to put them in the diffuser, if you're on the go and you're feeling you need either to feel grounded or to feel calm, then literally just smelling the oil and literally 20 seconds will completely change your mood. You can pop a drop in the palm of your hands and take a couple of deep breaths, and it's just really, really good to help you feel calm. And even for like kids, you know, if they're going from like 0 to 50 in the space of 2 seconds, and you want to help them feel calm, using the oils to support them is just really, really powerful. And it just, you can see quickly, like Sean, my son now, he would be a bit of a worrier. So sometimes when he goes to bed, I can see that his mind is racing. So what we'll do is like we'll put a drop of lavender in the palm of his hand and he'll take a couple of deep breaths, and I can just see there's a release, like, and he just feels calm and he's relaxed. And it's just, it's really empowering as a mom to be able to support your family with natural solutions that work almost instantaneously then as well. And then the best way to use them aromatically as well as in the diffuser. So it's given them that layer of protection while they're sleeping, but then it's also, you know, I suppose it's given them that layer of protection, but then you can use it on so many different levels. So as we see here on the slide, you can use it for homework help. So if there's homework going on in the background, you can diffuse. So what I like to diffuse for homework is 3 frankincense, 3 lemon, and 3 peppermint. And as Alison mentioned earlier, lemon is really good for peppermint. Frankincense is really good for supporting the brain. So it's really good for focus, and peppermint is also really good for focus as well. And again, it's natural. There's no synthetic fillers or anything like that. So you're literally just, you know, your home will smell amazing, but it's also helping your kids to focus and helping you to focus then as well. One of my go-tos, and it's actually in Sean and Clara's diffuser as they're sleeping at the moment, is my back to school shield. So what this is 3 drops of air and 3 drops of On Guard. So air is a respiratory blend, and it contains a couple of different oils. So it's really, really powerful. And the great thing about the air is you're getting a number of different oils in one bottle. So you're not having to go off and buy 5 or 6 bottles. You get the air in the one bottle. So I love to diffuse this in the kids' rooms every single night. And it's incredible. And it smells lovely then as well. Another option then is the cozy blend. So this is if someone is having trouble sleeping, or if they're feeling a little bit anxious. Wild orange and lavender are just an incredible combination for if you want to support somebody that's, you know, I suppose anxious or self-conscious or worried. Lavender actually is a natural antidepressant. So it's, when you are using pure lavender, like, you will really, really see the benefits compared to other lavender oils, which they don't work the same because they don't have the same purity. Another one of my go-tos is allergy relief. So anybody that struggles with hay fever, we used to have to reach for Zyrtec. We don't anymore because of the combination of lemon, lavender, and peppermint. So lavender and lemon are both natural antihistamines. And that's what Alison mentioned earlier about the oils are so versatile. So, you know, while emotionally lavender is really good for emotional support, but then physically it's really good for like bites and stings, and also to support hay fever then as well. And then the after school reset. So we have adaptive, which is our calming blend. And I think Anne-Marie is going to talk about that in more detail, so I'll leave that to her. But again, it's just, I suppose these are just really, really powerful tools that you can have at hand to support your kids for whatever stage they're going through, and having the diffuser. Okay, so moving on then. So the second way to use the oils is topically, and this is if you want oils to get to work fast. The oils absorb through the skin into the bloodstream, and they do that in literally 30 seconds. They support the whole body and also localize them as well. So they're great for if anybody has growing pains or if anyone has, any sort of back issues or knee issues. It's really, really good for localized support. It brings immediate comfort. And it's a great immune support. So on the next slide, I'm going to show you a couple of roller balls that we use around the house every day in terms of immune support to protect the kids. And then it's also great for all skin types. So when you're diluting an oil, you're literally helping it absorb, but then it's really gentle and delicate on the skin as well. So it can be used from newborns all the way through to elderly. Okay, so let's roll. So the simplest way to use your oils when you're diluting them is in a roller ball. So you'll see here a picture of some fractionated coconut oil, which is a carrier oil. It's probably one of the most, there's a number of different carrier oils, but fractionated coconut oil is probably the most popular. And then you'll see a picture of some empty roller balls. Now, roller balls are incredibly cheap to buy. I think they're like 92 cents each. So it's a great way to, it's a great tool to have to use your oils. So some of the go-to roller balls that I use every single day on my kids are the immune support. So what I would do with this is I would literally roll it on the soles of their feet and along their spine morning and evening. So like people will often say, oh, I don't have time to, do this oil routine. Like you really don't have time not to. It takes me literally less than a minute to put oil on my kids in the morning and they're protected then for the whole day. So it's like by putting it on the soles of their feet and their spine, they say the spine is the gateway to all the organs in the body. So you're literally giving them that layer of protection. So when they go into the classroom or when they go into creche, whatever's going around, they have that layer of protection on them. And it's not to say that your kids are never going to get sick if you use essential oils, but what it means is that they have a layer of immunity with the oils. But also if they do get sick, you have tools on hand to help them bounce back so much quicker. Another one of my go-tos is the fever support. So if my kids have a temperature, which they would have in the past, I reach for peppermint instead of Calpol. So literally, and like it still blows my mind to this day, and I've been using the oils for 8 years now. I will, like, say for example, if Sean had a temperature, I would I'd check his temperature, I'd put the peppermint on, I'd leave it about a minute, and I would check his temperature again, and it would have reduced. Because if you think about peppermint, what it's doing, and because it's in its purest natural form, it's cooling the body. So it's bringing down the body temperature naturally, and it's actually working with the body. So, if you suppress the temperature, like your body can't do what it's supposed to do, which is fight the infection. And, I'm saying this, I suppose, your own child, and obviously you'll do what's right for you. I'm not saying don't use medication. I'm just saying as a first line of defense, it's a really incredible oil to have in your toolkit for when temperatures creep in. And then another one of my go-tos is the respiratory relief. So I had my biggest wow moment with the oils when Sean was 9 months old. He suffered really bad with his chest, was on antibiotics, steroids, nothing was working. And I remember I took him to a chest specialist and he said, look, just stop everything. So I stopped everything and just started using air on him. So I would put it on throughout the day, literally every 3 hours. I would roll it on his spine, the soles of his feet, and I would diffuse it then at night. And normally when I put him down, he will literally just be coughing and then he'd eventually fall asleep. And I remember after using it consecutively for 2 days, I put him into bed and I was doing something in the kitchen and there was no coughing. And I was like, oh my God, it's quiet. And I ran in just to make sure that he was still breathing and he was fast asleep. So like it's an oil that we will literally never be without in our house. So there's a couple of other, I won't go through all of them now because I'm just very conscious of time. But another one I want to call out is just the bug off spray. So this is really good as a head lice preventative. If you have girls with long hair, it's really, really powerful. Using peppermint, tea tree and lavender in a spray bottle and literally just spraying it. Like I put it religiously on Clara's hair every single day before she goes out to school. And again, it's just that layer of protection so that if anything is going around, she won't get it. The third way then to take the oils is internally. And again, I mentioned at the start that we're only talking about doTERRA oils because Other oils you'll see, sometimes you can't even apply them to the skin, and you certainly can't take them internally because they're not pure, whereas doTERRA oils are pure, so you can take most of them internally. Um, so I suppose there's a number of benefits for taking oils internally, and this is more, I suppose, for the moms as opposed to giving oils internally for the kids. But it's a really gentle detox, so it helps to flush out toxins if you put a drop of lemon in your water. So as Alison mentioned, lemon is so versatile. It's good for detoxing the body. It's good to, it's a natural antihistamine. It also helps break up mucus if kids have a cough. So there's so many different uses for them. It's a really good way to cleanse and reset. So if you've any digestive issues or digestive discomfort, popping a drop of Zengest into your water or peppermint, and it's really good to support the liver system then as well. For sore throats, you can gargle with oregano or you can gargle with On Guard, and it's really, really powerful. But I suppose one protocol that I wanted to call out here is the flu fighter. So if we think about oregano, so it's a hot oil, so you would never just pop a drop in your mouth. You'd always take it in a vegetable capsule. So I would use this and I suffer with sore throats. So if myself or Podge got the flu, or if we just felt really unwell, I would take 2 drops of frankincense, 2 drops of lemon, On Guard, and oregano. And what I would do is I'd pop them into a vegetable capsule, and I would take that maybe 4 or 5 times throughout the day. And by day 3, it's absolutely perfect because oregano, like I like to think of oregano as my natural antibiotic. It's really, really powerful. It's antibacterial, it's antiviral, it's antiseptic, it's just antifungal. There's so many different benefits for oregano.
Sorry to interrupt. Just to clarify, I made a bit of an error when I was doing that slide. There should be tea tree in that flu fighter protocol. I must have deleted it because I know. Yeah, sorry. So frankincense, lemon, On Guard, oregano, and tea tree. Sorry, my bad.
That's okay. And just think of like an easy way to remember it is flute. So frankincense, lemon, On Guard, oregano, and tea tree. But don't worry, you're not expected to remember everything. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much, Jessie. And I'm sure maybe some of you have questions. If you do, maybe just jot them down. And we'll go through. We'll do a full Q&A at the end, if that's all right. And I'm going to call up our teen mama, Anne Marie.
Hello.
And I'm just going to go on mute. And I know this is going to be real conversational style. I might actually, because we don't have slides for your part, I might just stop sharing. And we'll go to gallery mode, if that's all right. Let me see. Or speaker mode. Now, I'm going to go on mute here. And over to you, Anne-Marie.
Hi, everybody. I've been using the oil for 5 years, and my kids are 15, 17, and 19. And I'm sitting here going, my God, it would have been so different had I had the oils when my kids were young, because I had a path worn to the doctors, and the 3 of them. So I 3 by the time Maeve was 4. I had Jane and Patrick, and it was just, when I think back in those days, the temperatures, the viruses, and then it just going through the house, and there was just periods of time where they would just get one thing after another after another. But we've moved on from that, and parenting teens is a very different vibe altogether. I don't know if anybody here has teenagers, and obviously no experience is the same. I have 2 girls and a boy. My girls are 19 and 17, and my son is 15. So they're great kids. But I find myself using the oils to help them with their emotions, to help them with their moods, and unfortunately to help them with anxiousness, because teenagers today, they have a tough time. And I work in a secondary school, and I'm around teenagers all the time, and I love teenagers. I just think they're fantastic, but I think they're growing up in a difficult world, and they've challenges that we didn't have. So for me, the way I use the oils now, I diffuse like mad. So that means I have the diffusers around the house, and I just love the house to be cozy, and I use the oils to help support the mood in the house. And if you've teenagers, you know there's moods. And if you've a menopausal mom in the house, you know there's moods. So I'm always kind of like just kind of checking in, especially in the car on the way home from school. What's the mood like? So again, they're different ages. So I've one just about to go to college, one in fifth year, and Patrick is in third year. So, you know, during times of narkiness, I would be diffusing very specific oils. So it would definitely be wild orange with a bit of peppermint, just to kind of make sure that there's, you know, more vibrant feel in the house. And orange is just going to help lift mood regardless. And I'll diffuse that upstairs, downstairs. They don't even take note of me anymore because I have the oils going all the time. And if we're looking at tired and I've so much homework to do, I will be thinking of concentration and what oils I can use for that. But also, like, so the peppermint, I'd definitely be using peppermint. And even just a little bit of lavender because we get a bit stressed when we have an awful lot to do. And I know lavender is an oil that you'd be using to help with sleep, but it also helps just create a little bit of calm. Frankincense is another one I'd be diffusing as well, because it's incredibly grounding oil and it's so supportive just with anxiousness and nervousness. So around the house, they would be the type of oils I would be diffusing. So, you know, Jesse spoke about, like, you know, when we inhale the oils, we inhale it through our nose and the olfactory in our nose, and it just awakens all our senses. And it also activates the memory seat in our brain. So I would use these oils, definitely wild orange and peppermint, a lot, so that when those oils are going, kids come home from school and they go, okay, it's homework or it's study time. And it just gets us in that frame of mind and that mood to go and going to study. And I've kids who are great at doing their homework and studying, but it's just to support them and their mood and their emotions. And then, you know, depending on, we could be sitting down watching a movie, and actually tea tree is an oil that everybody loves. When I diffuse in the house, it's a smell everybody likes, my husband in particular. And tea tree, just like emotionally and mood, it just gets rid of any like just negativity and, you know, maybe just moodiness in the air. So we love that. When it comes to anxiousness, I would be rolling. So I have roller balls all over the house. And my son is autistic and he's 15 and he really struggles with worry. And, you know, every morning we go to school, he will talk about, I have really worry feelings in my stomach, and we have the oils in the car, and I've adaptive here, I've adaptive going all the time. It's in my handbag. It's my own personal favorite oil, and he will use that. He also adores frankincense. He loves the smell of it. I will roll frankincense up and down his spine. Look, he does it now. He's 15. It's such a difference. You know, they're smaller. They go out the door, and you're like, do your oils. You know, when they're older, they do it themselves. You know, and he absolutely loves them. He has wild orange in his school bag. And I've actually just ordered, there's a blend called Stronger. It's one of the kids' blends to help him with some resilience because he's afraid he's going to get into trouble all the time. And of course he's not. But he really worries. And this is just such a lovely, lovely way to support him. And what else would I use? Just the balance is another oil that the girls will use as well if they're feeling just like, by them, they're just like, oh, and I'll be rubbing, they will rub balance on their ears and just down their neck just to relieve shoulder tension. I'm aroma point trained as well, so I'll be getting my kids to put their oils on. There's 2 points on your shoulders that just releases tension, especially when you're sitting at a desk doing lots of study. And with the girls with period pains, we're talking lavender and deep blue. So I would make a roller ball with lavender and deep blue. And they would just roll it hip to hip or give themselves just a massage if they have, bad period pains. Another oil we use a lot is Zengest, which is for digestion again. If they're car sickness or just generally, just too much dinner or whatever it is, they would rub Zengest on their tummy and it just gives that instant relief. It's my husband's favorite oil as well, but He's my oldest child, but yeah, we'll just include him just for that for that oil alone. He adores them just. Um, and then when it comes to before I go on the study stuff with my eldest daughter, we've all had a dose. There is colds and sore throats, and we all had it over the weekend. So everyone has one of these in my house. So I make a nasal stick, and basically, I've put some essential oils in here. I have used spearmint and eucalyptus for postnasal drips personally, and then the kids as well. Just all have that cough, and the reason they're using it is just for relief. But for me, I'm like, I don't want to go down into their chest because that postnasal drip. Because my daughter has asthma, and out of the three of them, I'm just like, oh, will you just make sure you're using it, like, she put it in her pocket, and I go, please use it. I don't want you on an antibiotic. So they're going at the moment. Biggie for us was the Leaving Cert this year. I have Maeve has gone into college now, and she worked harder than anyone I've ever known in my life. And she did really well, but it was a really, really, really hard year. And there was no problem with her studying, but I was worried about her health. So she took the Long Life Vitality supplements for the couple of months leading up to her Leaving Cert. And she found that she had a lot more mental energy. And I could see it in her. She had a lift because she was so tired. She did the HBAT exam earlier on in February, and she studied for that. And I could just see her heading towards the Leaving Cert. And I just was so worried that she would just crash into it. So this was just a brilliant thing for us to have. And I take it myself, so I knew it was brilliant. And I was like, will you please take these? And she did. And I'd have the studio was going anyway, upstairs, and she did really well. So yeah, again, different to having small kids, but incredibly supportive in our house. So if you have any teens, hit me up with any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. So such a proud mom. Like, I'm just so happy for just everything over the last couple of months, just seeing how the exams went. And I didn't realize back-to-back Leaving Cert. So if anyone has, what I'll do is actually, I'll just, before we move into Q&A, for anyone here, I know we've got like a good few of you in here that are part of our community that are already using oils, and then some of you are brand new. So before we dive into Q&A, I'm just going to share my screen again and just show you how you get started with oils. If you're like, I want to have tools to support us as a family moving into this back to school, autumn, winter season. Can you see my screen there? Can someone give me a thumbs up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. So you have So you have the tools, you have the oils there, and it's really simple to get started. So number one is pick a starter kit. There are different starter kits. I'll show you two of the most popular, our favorites, that cover 90% of all of the different issues that every family experiences. We covered a lot of those oils today. But the first step is just simply choose the kit that works best for your needs, your family's needs. Step two is just reach out to the person who invited you to this class. So, whether that's myself, Anne-Marie, or Jessie, or maybe it was somebody else. So just reach out to that person, tell them that you're at a class, that you want to get started with oils. And what they'll do is they'll help you. They'll just send you a link and you can just go and order them yourself. And then the third step is just plug into the community. So as a community in doTERRA, we have a breadth of resources, help. And what I love about doTERRA is that it's community based and it's community focused. I don't know about you, but like years ago when I started using oils, before I started using them, I just saw them in the chemist. I was like, I wouldn't have a clue where to begin and I wouldn't know what to do. And like with doTERRA, it breaks down that barrier because it's community based. So when somebody's getting started with the oil, so let's say you're like, I want to get started, I want to know how to use this, but I'm like, I don't have a clue how I'm going to use them, how to dilute, what to use when, on who. I don't want to, buy something and not know, and then it just sit on the shelf. So all of that is just ancient history because we have all of that sorted. So we have a beautiful, abundant community that has loads of different resources that'll help you get started. So those are the 3 simple steps. 2 of the most popular best-selling kits are the Home Essentials kits, the Home Essential Kit and the Family Essential Kit. So the 2 of these kits basically contain the top 10 oils. So they contain the exact same oils. They're basically in 2 different sizes, and they've got different price points just based on the size. These kits literally cover 90% of the different issues that every typical, like the typical things that everyone faces, every family faces. So we're looking at, just to quickly, a quick run through. So you've got your lavender in there for calming. You've got lemon, which is really soothing. We mentioned that for the sore throats. Peppermint for energy, for feeling alert, for the sinuses. We have the frankincense, which is a powerhouse for the brain. It helps with the stress response. We have tea tree in there, which is antiseptic. It works really well combined when we think about the immune system. When we think about making up a natural antibiotic. So tea tree and oregano work beautifully together. So those are our single oils. And then the blends are specifically tailored to support body systems. So we have Zengest. So Zengest is the digestive blend. So any type of digestive issue. Mum, I've got a sore tummy. You're rubbing on Zengest. If there's anxiousness in the tummy, because we feel, our gut holds a lot of our emotion as well. So we have the digestive blend. We have On Guard in there. On Guard is the protective blend that supports your immune system, irrespective of what it is that's in the environment that's going around. We have Air, which is the respiratory blend. So again, any of the coughs, any of the, the chestiness, even feeling run down, tightness in chest, and also Air for just breathing deeply, because when we're stressed, we shallow breathe. So Air is a beautiful oil to be able to support the whole respiratory system. And then we have Deep Blue. That's the one that Anne-Marie referenced for the period pain. But Deep Blue is beautiful for any pain or inflammation in the body. So those are the 10 oils that are in both of those kits. The Home Essentials kit, which is the one on the left, it contains 15 ml bottles. So they're the big size bottle. They have 250 drops each. So they last a long time. And literally, because the oils are so potent, you literally just need, less is more. So you're using, literally 1 to 2 drops per application. So that's the Home Essentials. It's the best-selling starter kit. We have our best-selling diffuser in there, which I actually have going behind me. It's called a petal diffuser. It'll diffuse for 5 hours. And it's gorgeous. Like it's lovely. It's a cool mist, and it'll fill a space. I've seen diffusers, they come up again, like even in the middle aisle in Lidl, and there's no output. The petal diffuser has a really strong output, so you can fill a big room by just diffusing that. And because they're a bigger bottle, they go a long way. So the beautiful thing about the Home Essentials, even though it's incredible value because it's bundled together, it's much cheaper than if you were to buy the oils individually. But there's a huge promotion this month, which everyone was so excited about when we saw it at the beginning of the month. So when you purchase that kit, you get a free bottle of Adaptive, which is the blend that Anne-Marie walked you through. It's the calming blend. It's excellent when we think about really calming that, when we think about the emotion seat in the brain. It's got copaiba, wild orange, lavender in there. So it's very, very settling. And copaiba, just for anyone that's unfamiliar, it's excellent for just, when we think about your stress response, just getting your nervous system regulated. I use it on my kids, and we go from having, a temper tantrum meltdown to being chilled in 30 seconds. So there's a full bottle of that for diffusing, and then there's a roller ball that you can apply to the back of your kid's neck if they're worried about something, if they're going out to school. And then we have lemon as well as part of that promotion. So that's running for the month of September. And for those of you that are here joining us, this is an event that, because you're part of this event, if you get started with that kit as well, you also get a free bottle of Balance and Wild Orange with that Home Essentials kit. So that whole bundle is basically worth €150. So it's really good value, especially to get the freebies added in. And then as for the Family Essentials kit, it is a beautiful kit as well. It's budget friendly because it's under €200. It's got the best selling oils. It's a really affordable starter option. And because again, you're here at this event, you get a bonus gift worth €22, which is the bottle of Wild Orange, which I have. Loads of oils going, but Wild Orange here, it's gorgeous. And again, just soothing and calming your nervous system. So then as well, when you get started with oils, you can just hit the ground running. The first thing that you get is a personalized one-to-one consult. So that means that you're sitting down with a person who enrolls you and helps you get your kit, and they are helping you create a personalized bespoke protocol for your family. So everyone is different. Like Anne-Marie was just sharing an insight into her family dynamic and, the different ages. And, so for example, that's Anne-Marie's family. Then Jessie has, children at different ages. She mentioned that her, her baby had asthma, or her son, when he was a baby, I should say, had asthma. So everyone has different needs. So it's beautiful to be able to sit down with someone who's able to write out and do a bespoke plan with you. So that's the first thing. So you get that. You also get access into our beautiful community. It's called the Daily Drop Community. A little kind of scroll through there just went, if you look in the image at the phone on the right there, it just kind of gave you a preview of the different resources that we have. Different webinars, mini trainings, mini series, recipes, PDFs, it's all there. And then we have a really lovely community. We host monthly trainings and events. Every month we do our drop-in. So it's our community call where we just come in and share what's working for us, oils, we give protocols. And then we have different events. So for example, later this month, we're doing an emotional aromatherapy workshop for our community. So we've loads going on, loads of support. So you'll never be stuck or, be in a position that you're like, I don't know what to do, because there is tons of support there. And we're all here waiting to support you on your oil journey. So that's us there. There's a gang of us. But yeah, we hope that, that tonight gave you a really great insight into the potential of what the oils can do for you, for your family through this back to school season. And we really hope that you take the step and embark on this journey, because it's so empowering when you've got great tools and when it's something that's really sensory, that's really beautiful, that your whole family enjoys. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and let's just open up the floor to Q&A. You're welcome to unmute yourself, ask questions, pop them into the chat if you're shy, or maybe you're lying in bed with the kids beside you trying to get them you're afraid to move out of the room. Whatever it is, it's easy breezy over here. So just, if anyone has questions, just fire away.
There's one in the chat, Alison, just
sorry.
Yeah, the chat, Marie.
Okay, is there a limit on how many oils that is safe in a day, for example, diffusing and also using topically? So for internal use for an adult, the max is 24 drops a day internally, which is, when we specifically internal use. But to be honest, it's very hard to quantify when you're thinking about how much you're actually, absorbing. If you think about, okay, I've got a diffuser going in the kitchen and I've got one in the sitting room, and if you've got them in different spaces in your house. So with diffusing, I would say no. I would say I would use oils multiple times a day, but I would listen to your body. So you don't need to use you don't need to use oils all day, every day. You listen to your body. It's so intuitive. At a time, I'd be looking at 1 to 2 drops. The key with oils is little and often. So use 1 or 2. And then if you feel like, okay, I want to take another drop of that because I feel good when it's on me. And a couple of hours later, you're like, okay, I could go for another drop of that frankincense. But as in if I was to give you an actual amount, I can't, because we all as well, we have we're different bills. It's based on our metabolism, but use little and often. So I'm sorry, there's not a specific number that I can give, but I would say listen to your body, little and often, and yeah, and if you want to unmute yourself and if you want to go more specific, and we can go into a bit more context.
What I might just add to that is so say for example, if it was a child that you were asking about, then so if my kids were sick, I would put on, and they were at home with me all day, I would put on the oils multiple times during the day. So the immune blend and the respiratory blend, I'd put that on probably every 2 hours. From a rollerball, so it's diluted. So, and again, I would do that all day, and put the diffuser on then at night as well. Hope that helps.
Yeah, so if you want to unmute yourself, Mairead, and or even pop into the chat, fire ahead because it's a good question, and if you have it, there's a good chance as well somebody else does as well. So Sarah has asked, would some of the immune blends work on older people, or the blends have to change? No, it's the exact same. We use the exact same oils. That's the beauty; they're so versatile. Like the thing is, with children and adults, you know the way like in a chemist, you go in and there's like a medication and it's like for children and it's the dosing and all like, and then there's a different medication for adults and for, you know, people of certain ages. And with the oils, it's very simple. It's the same. We have the same body system. We have the same number of cells. It's just the size of us. So if you're just looking at children, you're just diluting more heavily because their skin is that bit more sensitive. So, but it's a great question. Thank you for asking it. At what age can you start giving drops to a person, or is diffusing the best option for children? So Sarah asked. So what age can you start? You can from small babies. Like both of my kids had oils pretty much within their first few days of life for colic, heavily diluted, like literally one drop, in a 10 ml roller ball, and you know, you can use your oils, you know, topically on your kids. You can use them, you know, aromatically in the air, for, you know, for any age. Internal use, you'd be more selective in what oils you're using internally for children. So for example, my 1-year-old, who's teething, so I get copaiba, which is a blend I mentioned earlier on, which is very good for pain and inflammation, and his gums would be inflamed. So copaiba is a very gentle, soft oil, and I literally go like this and I pop it on his gum into his mouth. He loves it. He's getting his molars now, so he's like chewing on my finger. But you know, but like you could easily as well roll that topically across the jaw. So, but yeah, there's no age. Tara has asked, would there be any specific oils you couldn't use with a palliative patient? So, and with them, sorry, let me just see, sorry that it's moving here. That you couldn't use. I don't think so. Like, I don't know is the right answer that I should say, but I don't think so. Am I right in saying that palliative patient, like, for example, you know, I don't like, I must look, I can follow up actually, Tara. It's a really good question. There is a class actually on essential oils for palliative care that I know a friend of mine taught in the past. But it's beautiful diffusing in that environment, in that setting, particularly for family that's around. But it's very personal and subjective. I suppose you need to kind of talk about it kind of like person by person. But we might just follow up with that separately if that's all right. But it's a great question. Raid has asked, I have oils for various things all day long between diffusing, cleaning and topical. Yeah, we never even mentioned cleaning. The beautiful thing about oils is you can go chemical free cleaning. And
that's a whole other class.
Yeah, that's a totally other class which we cover, and we have great resources and recipes in our community. Let me see. The Flume for my 4-year-old girl is absolutely safe. Yeah. Do you mean? Sorry, I hope I'm pronouncing your name, Ulia. Well, is that internal, or do you give it to her internally, or do you apply it to her topically? And Flume is, for anyone, that's what's Flume. So it's frankincense, lemon, oregano, on guard. The M is melaleuca, which is another word for tea tree. But yeah, curious to see. Okay, so Aisling says, I've used essential oils in palliative care and hospice patients many times. That's Hannah, I don't know if it's possible. Would you be happy to unmute yourself maybe and maybe share some of your insights and just if you want?
Yeah, so I'm actually in New York. I'm a nurse in New York in people's own homes. I mostly do hospice and end of life palliative. I have used many different blends, diffusing and also on the patient in roller balls. A lot of the oil that I would use would be like the adaptive blend and the lavender because there's a lot of anxiety in end of life. and lavender and the adaptive is just very soothing. And then depending on the patient's symptoms, I have brought in other like respiratory blends to help as well with them. If, for example, there's somebody with lung cancer and there's a lot of mucus and stuff like that, and I haven't had any, I always ask if they have a sensitivity, obviously, but I've never had any contraindications with the essential oils in palliative. And, I'm always of the belief, and I would always ask the doctors as well, and they say if the family feel it's helping and the patient's getting relief from it, then absolutely, it's pros over cons, really.
Thank you so much for sharing that. It's wonderful work that you do, and it's great to, to have had that insight. Thank you so much. I'm not sure who was that asked that question. Oh, it was Tara. So I don't know if Tara has any questions even back. But
Yeah, thanks very much, Aisling. I suppose the reason I'm just curious is because the palliative care team in Clonmel are opening up their kind of counselling service, more therapeutic services. So I'd like to offer, let's say, aroma touch maybe, or maybe the hand aroma with some self-havening for anxiety, but just to have the blends. But I'd like to be able to put something in writing to them. And the reason I was prompted to do it was because a friend of mine, she's a nurse as well, but she's a palliative care nurse, came into the house here recently for a weekend, and I had all the diffusers going, and she was like just taken blown away by the smells and just the feeling that was in the house. And she had said she had only heard of doTERRA because of the On Guard was used palliatively a lot. Um, in with her palliative care team, she knew about On Guard, so it's something I might look into in the local area. But I'd like to have something in writing.
I mean, I'm happy to write something for you in my own experience. I did my nurse training in London, and almost 42, and I'm using essential oils since I was 17. And even in our nurse training back then, there was, thankfully in England, they were talking about alternative therapies. I do study other alternative medicines like homeopathy and that, but I do find the essential oils are very, very powerful. But again, in palliative, it would be always important, just like when you oiled anyone, to do a patch test. So they know that they're not, a patch test, and leave it a few hours so you know that there's no reactions.
thank you so much for sharing that and giving that insight. Aisling, I really appreciate it. Okay, let me just see now. Okay, let me just make sure that, okay, so Alexandra mentioned for 9 years old as well, light autism, morning going to school is very stressful. What's best for morning come down? Diffuser or roll? Do you mean like a hand diffuser? Is it, Alexandra?
But roller, you have the mixer on the roller. So because I use the diffuser as well, but that's for the mornings. And now I use now for the winter time, that's the air, it's constantly coming. But now for the emotions, yeah, Wild Aura, did somebody had mentioned to me, but I was just wondering because Anne-Marie, she have experience. He's 15, but it's still for the 9 it will be something similar.
Yeah, sure.
Because,
Absolutely.
because she's anxious
I
in
have
the morning.
I have found that I start from the night before. So if he gets a good sleep and wakes up refreshed, having slept well, especially when he was younger, that he would be calmer. So that would look like using a bit of lavender in his bedroom and rubbing lavender in the bottom of his feet as well. He's really good at, he's very proactive in using the oils. It's so sweet. And he will actively look for things to help. With my stress management, he's terribly serious about it. But in the morning time, I would be frankincense, like
Okay.
store in a roller. You can buy it pre-blended, or you can make a roller ball yourself with it, and just up and down his back. And then the wild orange is in his school bag. Excuse me. So he'll just nose to put a drop, palm of his hand, and inhale it, and just to find comfort during the day in school. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. If you see for the hands, I need to see, because you say of the smell sensitivity. So depends if she like it. So on the hands, wild orange, you mean?
Well, yeah, and like he was guided himself to the frankincense, like, because I had the big family essentials kit, and he just gravitated towards it. It's so interesting,
Okay, because you see, one issue what I have, because she usually she sleeps quite well, but I just decided to start with lavender for the night. She'd wake up early morning. The one thing doesn't matter how if she go late or early,
quality of
she'd wake
sleep,
up 7.
Yeah.
But after, you see, after lunch at 2 o'clock, she's kind of fall asleep at the class. So just like wondering how to manage that.
But that wild orange is removed, and it'll kind of spark your senses up a bit. And I diffuse it and work all the time. Anyone walk past my office, I've wild orange and peppermint going. I'm tired a lot, so I need to work on myself as well. But and I'd often drop a bit of wild orange, go right, especially after my lunch, because I'm digesting, I'm working hard. So yeah, I would, but it's hard, and it's a bit of trial and error as well. So what might suit my son, something else would be more appropriate for your daughter. But like, I would let her smell all the bottles and go, what's your favorite smell, and be interesting to see what she gravitates towards.
Yeah, because I need to, because it's not easy to put the right smell.
I know,
and when it's too strong, it's strawberry no. So so that's why I was just now looking. So there's some good advices. So that's, I write down adaptive. Now, what adaptive? Because I didn't try this one. And I was thinking, if it's point to better to get in the roller for the hand, to put on the hand, or
I always have the rollerball with me all the time. You can also buy the bottle, and if you want to diffuse it, so it depends if you diffuse more. I have both in the house, to be honest with you, because I just especially if you're in the car, you want to grab it quick. I'd have the rollerball all the time. So yeah.
Because you see, my friend, she gave me actually 2 years back or DDS. That was one of the protocols as well for the children with the spectrum. So that's what I use as well at the moment. But anyway, I think about the adaptive. Thanks very much.
You're so welcome.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Thanks for asking as well, Alexandra. So Sarah, I'm going to come to you next. So Sarah has asked, do any of the oils interact adversely with medication? No medication in particular, but if the children get put on antibiotics, should I stop while on the antibiotics? So quick answer is no. The compliant answer is, I have to say, is always, consult with your medical professional. But no, they don't. We'll use the example of an antibiotic. So first off, if you know that your children are becoming unwell, the trick is, we'll say the right strategy is, as soon as you see them starting to become unwell or run down, or even in yourself, you're like, I'm starting to feel that tickle in my throat, is to get in early. Because when you're I see some people, and like, they might think of the oils might come as an afterthought, and they'll, oh yeah, I have something. But the most effective time that you can use it is at the beginning, and oregano and tea tree work as a really powerful antibiotic together. I might share a little clip. I can send it actually out by email, Sarah, but basically just a demonstration of how it actually works against bacteria. But just to get back to your question, you can use, like, so for example, if you're on an antibiotic, or your kids are on an antibiotic, you can use it, for example, on the soles of their feet as well. It's going to support the immune system. And as well, because I know so many parents that go on or their children go on an antibiotic, and then they come to the end of the antibiotic, and whatever it is hasn't cleared up. And what I love as well, particularly about the oils, is that they're not just like antibacterial, they're antiviral and antibacterial. So oftentimes, you'll go to a GP and a GP will say, "Oh, it can't do anything for it. It's viral." But sometimes they'll assume that sometimes something might be bacterial, but it may also be viral. So sometimes there's a little bit of crossover. The great thing about working with the oils is that they kill two birds with the one stone, so to speak. But the great thing as well is when you're using the oils, it just means that they're working in a different way. When we think about how they're affecting the cells, but they do not. There's no contraindication as you're using the antibiotics, and when you're using them, like it's great. Like I've Killian, he's 2 nearly, and he's never been on any medication. Like we're so blessed that like anything that goes wrong, there's something that's, there's an oil that can support our never ears, anything. So it's really empowering. Ulia says she uses her flute. She puts it in honey and she gives the kids veggie caps. So veggie caps are basically, for anyone that's unfamiliar, is basically they're an empty capsule that are made out of a vegetable gel. Because some of the oils like oregano and tea tree that I mentioned, like they just don't taste great. Like it's tea tree oil, no one would enjoy drinking that. Actually, Anne-Marie are you opening up a veggie cap there? Brilliant, just to show.
So you can see it there, that's it all together. So you take it apart, it's into 2 pieces. So you drop the oils into the veggie cap and then put it back together again. And that's it.
So handy. They're brilliant. So it would depend. So you could give it to your kids on a spoon of honey. The honey would disguise the taste, but the veggie caps are great because they can knock them back. But obviously they'd need to be able to take caps. My 5-year-old, there wouldn't be a chance. No way. Okay. Oh yeah, and then as well, the oil that you don't like the smell to is the oil that your body needs the most. I find that's working for me and my kids. That's lovely. Thank you. And you can cut them. The veggie caps? You can cut them for smaller kids. That's good. A good tip. Brilliant.
That's a really good tip.
Yeah. And also Lego when you're trying to balance them, or Duplo. If you can, the Duplo fits the veggie caps perfectly. If you're trying to do a mass production line at home and stick them in the freezer, you can do that as well. So yeah. Okay, so we got through our class in 45 minutes, which I'm delighted, because I was like, okay, and then the Q&A, I suppose, is just if anyone wanted to stay on. So, but I am conscious that it's gone past 9:30, and I want everyone to have, not be on screens too close before bedtime, practice what we preach and all that. So if anyone would like to ask any last question before we jump, you're more than welcome to. Thank you for joining us. It was lovely to see so many of you tonight at this late hour. And if not, we'll call it a day. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
it's lovely to be here tonight. Good.
Thank you, everybody.
Hey.
Take care. Have a great evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Thank you. Night.
Thanks, Rona.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks a million, ladies.
Thanks so much, Aisling, and thanks as well for sharing your insights. It's really appreciated.
No problem at all.
Stop your recording now.
I'm going to stop recording. Oh, yeah.